Hello, vinyl community. Good evening. Hi, hope everybody's doing really well. Rob here for another video. Yeah, sorry I've been away for a couple of weeks. Haven't really been buying an awful lot of vinyl, but been purchasing lots of kind of weird and wonderful hi-fi gear, and a blast from the past. The old mini disc players. I've bought both a hi-fi separate model and one of these. In fact, I've got a couple of these actually. But the first one that I bought, which was really cheap, and came with about 40 discs, wouldn't actually work on batteries. So I went and bought another one from a gentleman in Leicester for fairly cheap. I managed to knock him down a few quid. And this one does work on batteries. So, but anyway, so I digress. That's maybe for another video, because I'm aware that that might be of kind of marginal interest. So yeah. So obviously the reason why I'm here tonight is to do a response video, competition entry for Martin, the vinyl scavenger. Yeah, he's set a competition to celebrate his latest sample CD that he's put together, and has put a set of questions together for us to answer, kind of based sort of loosely on that kind of theme. So yeah, I mean, Martin's very creative. He he's done, I think, to my knowledge, several of these projects. He very kindly sent me a couple of CDs of some of the samples that he's done previously, and he's kind of mashups with a very eclectic, over kind of very broad genre of music, mixed in with kind of dialogue and clips and sampling, and it makes for a really interesting kind of compelling, and sometimes slightly disturbing listen. But yeah, so intriguing nonetheless. So anyway, yeah, so I thought I'd enter into the spirit of the competition and have a go. So yeah, he's set us four questions. So let's get on with it. So the first one is to show a record with the sample, or a record with some music that was taken out of context to be used in, say, an advert, etc. So obviously myself, I don't have an awful lot of music with sampled material on it. I probably do, but it's there's nothing that particularly came to mind, or that was kind of that stood out. But I definitely remember that in terms of advertising, that this was used for, I think, a Mercedes-Benz advert back in the 90s. That's Pink Moon. I think specifically the track Pink Moon from Nick Drake. Why on earth you'd want to use a kind of downbeat, soporific kind of song like that for a kind of to advertise a car, God only knows. But nevertheless, that was that's what transpired. So yeah, completely taken out of context, and definitely not in the original spirit of the music, but and nonetheless it was used. So there you go. Okay, so Scavenge. Okay, I wouldn't say this was particularly down on the knees, but it was kind of quite unexpected. This was a record that I purchased from an independent record shop from Birmingham city centre, of which there used to be quite a few. There's actually very few of them left now. I think the Discreet, probably to my knowledge, being one of the only ones. Certainly that's the original one, or the oldest one that's still going. I know that they're running a sale at the moment. I think it was advertised on Facebook. So they're moving from Bromsgrove Street round to the Bristol Road, I understand. So yeah, but this record wasn't from the Discreet. This was from another shop, which I cannot remember the name of now, but I think that it was on Her Street. So just round the corner from there. Yeah, I went into the shop, and the usual kind of vinyl in the A to Z racks, rock, jazz, etc., etc. And then there was some bins underneath, and I went through, and there was some really, really cheap stuff in there that was well under a tenner. So I was keen to have a look through there, and bearing in mind this was kind of like kind of mid-late 80s, so there was a lot of vinyl around, but a lot of decent vinyl that was very, very reasonably priced. This was before the kind of resurgence of vinyl, and kind of vintage vinyl, just prices just went ridiculous and went through the roof. So I was down on my knees flicking through the bins and came across this, which is Caravan in the Land of Grey and Pink, of course. Classic Canterbury band, the 1971 album. I think I'd already heard this from a friend of mine who had a copy, and I really, really loved it. And I love the space in this recording, just particularly it was so wonderfully produced for the time, and just how kind of the presence of all the instruments and everything, it just sounds fantastic, and just creates a wonderful atmosphere. Yeah, so obviously the album was inside in very, very good condition. But a lot of these records tended to have sort of a double gatefold sleeve with two openings. And it wasn't until I actually got home that I was looking through the other side of the gatefold, and this fell out, which was a original Caravan in Concert from 1975. Yeah, in really, really nice condition. Obviously, it's a bit of a crease in the middle, but yeah, with original sort of bio of the band, Pi Hastings, Mike Wedgwood, Dave Sinclair, etc. And yeah, just really, really nice original concert program. It's not the kind of thing that you'd expect to see in a record sleeve, certainly at the time, but obviously since then, every time I've picked up albums, particularly with a gatefold, I've always kind of rummaged around on the other side just to see if there are any of the goodies hidden inside the sleeve, because I've done that, and put programs and so on in some of my albums of sales after going to the concerts. So yeah, that was really nice to find that. So yeah, that particularly, I think I only paid about £5 for it. Obviously that's a record that goes for quite a bit more than that now. So yeah, that's definitely one of my better finds. So okay, number 3, a sample that would like to be used in a piece of music. So yeah, I mean, this is this is an album that I really enjoy by this artist, but I particularly like the actor whose dulcet tones are on one particular track off this. And this is Welcome to My Nightmare, Alice Cooper, classic 1975 album. I think this is the first one that he did after the original Alice Cooper band split up. But yeah, this has the wonderful Devil's Food and Black Widow on it, where you've got obviously that fantastic that fantastic reading, kind of monologue from Vincent Price, acting as the curator in the museum, and just those wonderful tones of his voice, just with such character and resonance. I'd love to hear some of that in a sample. I think that would make a really interesting sample for a record. Probably not the most original choice, considering that Vincent Price was used on Michael Jackson's Thriller. But there you go. So that would be, I think that would be quite an interesting one anyway. So yeah, so that's Vincent Price as a sample taken from Devil's Food and Black Widow from Welcome to My Nightmare. Okay, and the last one, show a black and white cover. As soon as I heard, saw Martin do this and mention a black and white cover, this was immediately the one that came to mind, and the one that probably resonates with me as a black and white cover more than any other. This is the terrifying White Noise Electric Storm album by David Vorhaus. Obviously very, very groundbreaking electronic album from the late 60s. Yeah, I mean, this certainly as a segue from talking about Vincent Price, this is truly horrific, or conjures up images of kind of horror and so on. Yeah, just a remarkable record, and yeah, doesn't really sound like anything else. Certainly wouldn't have done at the time when it came out. And yeah, I'm sure there's in terms of sampling, there's probably loads of bits from this record that you could take off because of its kind of nightmarish sounds and electronic bells and whistles that are on here. So yeah, okay, so that's my entry. Cheers, guys. Obviously, good luck to everybody who enters into the competition. Thank you to Martin for putting it together. Cheers, Martin. And obviously, good luck with the CD and your recording and everything. It's great to be creative, and yeah, I really should get my backside in gear and start playing the guitar again, because it's been a while. So but there you go. So anyway, guys, I hope you're all doing really, really well, and yes, I'll be back hopefully for a finds video in the next couple of days. I have a few things to show now, so expect that maybe by the middle of next week. In the meantime, take care. All the best, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.